Hi, this is John with Chest Freezer Cold Plunge, and in this video we're going to be unboxing the MarineLand Magnum Polishing Pump and Filter to use inside of your Chest Freezer Cold Plunge. It is a submersible aquarium filter meant for aquariums up to 97 gallons, and it has a flow rate of 290 gallons per hour.
I've been using my MarineLand pump and filter since 2018, and it works great, along with a JED 203 ozone generator, which we'll go over in more detail in another video. Let's talk about all the parts and pieces and how you want to set this up. So when you open up the box, you've got a few things. First thing is activated carbon. You do not need this, so take it and throw it away. They're going to have a little bag with some parts in it. Going to open that up. We'll use these in a few minutes. You're going to have the main canister, and then you're going to have a white box. The white box, you're going to open that up. In this box, you're going to have the Magnum polishing filter. We will use that, so set that aside. And then you're going to have the rigid core support that you will also use. This actually goes inside of the polishing filter. What we're going to do first of all is you're going to take the canister and we're going to remove the motor housing. So how we're going to do that is you're going to hold on to the motor housing, grab the canister, and you're just going to turn the canister towards your left. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. This piece is called the shroud. This is the media container. You do not need this. This is meant to be used with aquariums that have animals living in them, and this little black piece is not needed. This blue sleeve is not needed. Now, what you do need on here, though, it sometimes sticks, is going to be the foam gasket. This is important. So you can take this piece and discard it along with the carbon. The foam rubber gasket, you're going to take that and put it down inside of here. So if you can see on this bottom piece here, there is a little, I guess a sphere, is a bump, and you're just basically going to take that gasket and toss it in there, and you want to wiggle it around until you get that gasket all the way around that little center piece here. And then once that's in place, you are going to remove the paper with the tape from your filter, and then this will go into the canister along with that rigid core piece. What you're going to do is then take the motor housing and just put it down on there. And if you look really closely, you can actually see where the grooves are. There's actually grooves and slots on the top of the canister housing. You can see them on there. Like here's the slot, here's the groove, and you've got the big, you may not be able to see it because of the lighting, but there's also grooves and slots on the motor housing. And you just turn it until it all fits into place, and then you're just going to turn the canister towards the right to tighten it down. You'll want to pull the little plastic protector piece off of the plug, and then you'll undo the twist ties. Next thing we're going to do is get the extension tube with the plug. You're going to take the extension tube and the flow diverter, and on the extension tube, you'll notice that there's two little roundish tabs on either side, here and over here. And then on the flow diverter, you've got these two holes on the sides. And what you're going to do is just take those little tabs on the extension tube and then put that into the flow diverter. So now you have this piece like this. It will move, and you can easily put the water or direct the water where you want it to go. Then you take the extension tube and just put it onto the turret. It will click into place, and you're pretty much ready to go. The last thing we're going to do, we have the bracket and the suction cups. The bracket has a side that's completely smooth or flat, and then the other side has these tabs on it. Those two tabs are what goes into the slot that's here on the back of the motor housing. So we can see that slides in. All right. And what we're going to do is face the suction cups to where, install these suction cups so that they're actually facing the wall of the chest freezer. You notice that the suction cups do have tabs on them, and you want to make sure that these tabs are facing away from the filter, not towards the inside, because if they're like this, you won't be able to get them to pull it off when it's time to remove it. So these things really just slide in. Doesn't take too much work just to get them in place. Okay, So we've got the suction cups onto the bracket, and the bracket now slides into here, into place. And then what you're going to do is just put this down inside the chest freezer up against the wall. I like to sit it on the floor. And this extension cord, or the power cord, is a flat power cord. So you can see it's actually pretty thin. I just drape this over the wall, the top wall, in between the lid. Run the pump and filter 24/7, except for when you're in the chest freezer, in which case it should be unplugged along with all other equipment that you have that's powered, that's in or around the chest freezer. When your water flow starts to reduce, the water starts to look cloudy. A lot of times that's just because the filter is in need of cleaning. There's another thing that could be going on though, and that's the impeller. So I'm going to show you how to get to that and clean it. So you're going to hold this, turn the canister to the left, okay? And then again, when you're cleaning this thing, you want to pull out the filter, make sure that all this is clean, pick any debris or sediment out, rinse it off. The ridge core support, also clean that out and rinse it off. And then while you're at it, go ahead and rinse out the canister, make sure that it's clean on the inside, make sure there's no slime or anything building up in there. And then always make sure that you get that black foam rubber gasket back in place where it needs to go. It doesn't really matter if you put one side in or the other, they're exactly the same. So that will work either way just fine. So again, once we have the gasket back in place, you can see that there. Everything just goes back in. Now, how do we get to the impeller for cleaning? So you're going to pull off the extension tube, all right? Put that aside. All of this is going to come apart very easily. You don't need any tools. So the first thing you're going to do, when you're looking at the turret, you're going to turn the turret all the way to the left, okay? And then you can see this starts to loosen up, and the motor housing will just pull right off. Now, the impeller may or may not come with it. That's okay. Now what you're going to do is the rest of this is going to fall out or come out. Right, so we have several pieces here. So again, this big piece here is the shroud. This is your impeller. This thing is actually held in place with a magnet inside the motor. So you can watch as we take this, get it here, it just goes right into place. Okay, so that's held in place with a magnet. And this thing can get gunked up with hair or other sediment. So if your flow rate is not that great, or if you're getting cloudy water and you've changed the filter, this is the other place to look. This piece is called the turret, and then you have the turret shield. So how does this all go back together? So from there, you're going to take the motor, put the impeller in. So we've got our shroud. You're going to take the turret shield, put that in place here. And then you've got the turret. Basically, you're going to take the empty side, or the hollow side, is what goes up. And you're going to think that's where the impeller has got to fit into that. So make sure that the correct side is facing up. You'll know quickly if it isn't. It'll be pretty simple to identify that. And then you want to turn that turret all the way. If you're facing it, it'll be to the left. And then with that in place, the motor just comes down. Now, you might need to wiggle it a little bit to make sure all the tabs and everything are locked into place. And then once you can feel it in place, you can turn this entire thing. There we go. Turn that turret to the right. Okay, that's facing it. The turret's been turned to the right side, and now the motor's in place. So then all you have to do is take the motor and the shroud, put that on top of the canister, and then just start turning that to the right until everything lines up and it closes nice and tight. And then just take this tube, the turret, and just point the turret wherever you want it, and you're going to put the flow diverter, you're going to put the tube extension and the flow diverter back into place.
That's how you assemble the MarineLand Magnum Polishing Pump and Filter. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to post those below. And if you do want to buy one of these things, Please use my affiliate link down in the comments section. That's how I help support my group, Chest Freezer Cold Plunge, which, by the way, join my Facebook group. It's free. We have a lot of people across the globe in there discussing all things about chest freezer cold plunges and other do-it-yourself cold plunges. And it's a really super friendly, super helpful community. And you can also check out my book, which is on my website at chestfreezercoldplunge.com. My book has all of the details on how to start the journey getting a chest freezer turned into a cold plunge, and it guides you step by step through the many different options that you can choose that works best for you and your budget. You can also check out my other videos on this channel. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, and if you do subscribe or like to the channel, that's great. Share with your friends, and happy cold plunging.